Hey everybody, I'm just sitting here on New Zealand Saturday morning. Gorgeous, right? My backyard again. Look how my lemon tree's doing. Really cool. Before I hang out my second load of washing, because, why wouldn't you in this weather? And while I drink my breakfast, I was just thinking that, while I appreciate all the wonderful, build up to conference hype that there is online and all these wonderful suggestions that come from so many places, and I love the Don't Miss This one. I'll mention Rio from Work and Wonder because amazing. And who else have I been watching? Oh, the Our Turtle House stuff. Um, and even just following Deseret Book and LDS Living and the church website and the messages from our apostles into conference builder. There's so much wonderful material out there, and I think for a lot of people it can be somewhat overwhelming. I don't know if any of you feel this, but I just got this impression that while I really enjoy it because that's where I'm at, a lot of people probably don't, you know. So I just wanted to sort of share some of what we do for conference because it's probably a more realistic life thing that happens out of, and I don't want to be mean, Utah. Sorry, guys, but it's kind of true. Um, we love you guys, but it just isn't like that everywhere else. Maybe in other places in America, but here it's not. I know in Australia it's not. My friends in other places of the world, it's just not. So, what do we do for conference build up? We'll make sure that we have a good week. Like we pray that we do the whole either take a problem or a concern or question so that we can seek revelation while we have conference. We'll do that. Probably in a more laid back way than you probably think. Sometimes we have something really pressing and we'll do that. Other times it's more simple and we'll just say, we just want to feel some goodness. And that's okay. Um, the day before conference, now it's Saturday here, so conference is tomorrow for us. So we'll get an early night tonight. Today I'll spend time doing what I need to do on the regular Saturday. I actually feel like watching Hunger Games later, so I'll probably watch that. And Dave will come home from work and he'll probably just hang out in the garden for a bit because that's his happy time. And then we'll get an early night because we'll need to get up at like 4:30 to make sure we're bathroomed, have a drink, wake up, and we start watching conference live at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is the Saturday session. So that's what we do. Dave this is the second time he'll get up and watch live with me. He discovered he really liked that last time. So I kind of want to talk a bit about Dave and his preparation for conference because I have always loved conference. I've always been, before we could watch it live, I would watch what we could live when we'd do it at the chapels. They'd just show Sunday sessions. And I'd only have a ride with whoever I went with because I didn't have a car. So I'd probably only get to see Sunday morning live and it would be a week later, delayed. Although when I remember when I was a kid, we listened to it on record. That was cool. Yeah, Spencer W. Kimball's gravelly voice on a record player because that's what we had back in the 70s. Yes, I'm that old. But yeah, we never really got to see Saturday, but I'd make sure I read it and I would study it, and I've always loved that because this is where I find my joy. But again, it's not true for everybody. Some people find that harder. Dave's not found that easy to watch. He is not a person that sits there and watches movies back to back, and I love doing that. That's my happy time. His happy time's out in the garden doing stuff like that. So for everybody, it's not easy to sit there for that block of time and feel immersed in those gospel things. That doesn't mean that they're not spiritual. It's just a harder thing for them to do. So there's other ways for them to do it. So tomorrow morning when we get up and we're watching conference at 5 a.m., he will probably fall asleep and I will just leave him. And he'll catch up on that bit later. And then he'll go for a walk later that day because he likes to go for a walk on Sundays. Like a nice spiritual walk because that's where he defrags, going back to a computer term. That's where he gets out all that junk and all that. That's his active meditation and he'll go do that. Doesn't mean that he's not going to watch it later on his iPad, his tablet. Doesn't mean that he's not going to read it ever. And if there's something in particular that stands out to me that I think he'll enjoy, I'll say watch that talk and he'll watch that talk. And he's enjoying it better, but it's taken nearly 18 years of us being married. We're being married 18 years next April. for him to get to that point. When I first met him, he was kind of like, oh, general conference, weekend off. And I'm like, no. So it's taken time. And he's finding his love for it now. But I just want to point out that not everybody feels that great joy for it. So when everyone there is talking and you see all over Facebook and all the social medias, and there's a lot of like questions like, what's your favorite conference snack? I'm like, breakfast, because that's what we have. What's your favorite conference tradition? I'm like, watching it. Like, there's no, we don't have this big kind of party atmosphere to it, like spiritual party, but party atmosphere. We just generally just watch it kind of quietly at home, and that's what my friends do too. They just watch it at home, and there's still a lot of people here that don't know how to get it live. A lot of people that aren't so tech savvy, so they do have to wait or rely on people like me to tell them. Yes, we're still going. I've got a couple more minutes to ramble on for you. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to do too is, like, as far as note taking, I find that I've seen people in conference or just in state conference furiously taking notes, and it's just like, just take some notes. You don't have to like write out the whole talk. If you really were inspired by their talk, you can watch it later or listen to it later or go back to it later. Write down, I was impressed by this, or this impressed upon me, or whatever you want to put there. If it's a state conference and you really love that talk, ask the person for a copy, or ask them to, like, just listen to it, just absorb it first. It's the same as going to a concert and recording it on your phone. It's just not the same. Like, really, just, you don't need to furiously note take, especially general conference, because you can go back and look over it. Just write a few little things. You don't even need to write anything. Some talks I just like watch and absorb. If you're gonna have kids watching, you have some activities for them, because it'll help. But there's no right way to watch conference. Conference is in such a format now that there's so many different ways to watch it. And I just know my grandfather, whose house is over there, who's passed away now for some time, he would be so excited to get up and watch it early in the morning. And that would be the highlight of his year for him. So that's him. For others, it's maybe 5 minutes here and there, just the highlights, and that's all they can take. But the point really is to make that constant and consistent effort to actually watch and absorb the messages from our leaders and our prophets, our prophet and our apostles. So watch them. Take from that what you will. You don't need to feel pressured to suddenly have this big conference tradition with fancy snacks and everybody over and we all must do this. It's just like, watch conference your way. The point is, watch it. Yeah. So while I appreciate all those wonderful things from all these wonderful resources, for a lot of people that causes pressure. So don't let it cause you pressure. Just make sure you watch some conference and watch it your way and enjoy it. And I will certainly be posting what I like, and I'll do some little snippets of, ooh, this is cool, ooh, that's not so cool. Don't really, didn't get much out of that one, did anybody? Because I'll be honest about it. Not every talk is for everybody, but there's still something to be found. Every conference, there is something that just grabs my heart, squeezes it, and makes me cry like a baby. So, you might see some of that too. Okay, well, that's me. I'm going to go hang up my washing, finish my breakfast, and just enjoy this beautiful day before conference at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. See you guys. Mwah.